Hey all, welcome to another episode of SaaS SI Partnership podcast series. I'm Shankar from Coot and I will be your host for today's episode. SaaS founders everywhere grapple with the challenge of securing partnerships with system integrators, a way they can grow their business. Today, I'm excited to welcome Arun, a client partner at IBM, who brings a wealth of experience in this domain. Arun will walk us through the ins and outs of how to make a successful SI and SaaS partnerships, shedding the light on different phases are involved from initial engagements till the long-term collaborations. Join us as we explore the journey, best practices, and key insights that can help SaaS companies navigate and excel in forming successful SI partnerships. Hi Arun. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks a lot for your time.
Sure.
Yeah. So before going deep into the questions, please introduce yourself to the audience. Like, I think they would like to know more about you.
Okay. So, see, I've been in the IT industry for quite long. It's been almost 3 decades now. Fundamentally, I'm a medical professional. I did my audiology from Kasaba Medical College. That's way back in 1992. Post that, I worked for almost 5 years in a hospital as a medical professional. Then at some point, I decided I don't want to continue. Then I moved to engineering. Now, that was a little difficult because you typically don't have maths as a option in your pre-university, right? You do physics, chemistry, biology.
Right.
And without maths, you can't do engineering in India. So I decided to do it abroad. So I did that from Scotland, from Glasgow University. And later I moved to IT. That's how I moved. The difference was that I didn't move to pure IT. I moved into something called bioinformatics, which is a combination of biology plus IT, typically creating software for scientific community. So that's the first thing that I did. And then I did my MBA and moved to the bigger service provider. So that's what I did in my early days. Um, my first job in a big SI was with Siemens. SISL, the part of the IT arm of Siemens. And from there, I think I've worked in HCL, I worked in Cognizant, I worked in Accenture. Prior to IBM now, I worked in EY. Most of these were alliance roles and GTM roles, where it was more of looking at partnering with larger ecosystem partners, be it technology or be it business consulting, bringing all together and then offering the whole gamut of services or solutions to the customer. So that's what I've been doing. In IBM, I actually am part of something called the GCC, which is Global Capability Centers. Specifically, my work is around creating what we call as global technology hubs, which is COEs, Center of Excellence, for technology specifically. It could be emerging technologies or it could be some very niche technologies where you develop the Center of Excellence in India to deliver globally. So that's what currently I do in IBM, Shankar.
Great, Arun. I think you already touched upon the role, but could you specifically tell what's a kind of specific KRA, right? Because the kind of vast profile you are having, and what are the challenges you are seeing, while completing that KRA?
So one is, I think, for everybody, I think there is always a mismatch between what a organization expects and what personally you look at as a role. Okay, but then somewhere I think we compromise to a limit where now that you are on a job and now that you have already joined, you don't want to shake up the entire thing. But if you look at it from a measurement perspective, for me, I do have a KRA in terms of uh, revenue being the main thing. How the revenue comes is not a rational, but there is a revenue target, of course, because that's a prime for anyone who is in a GTM role. The second part is KRA is in terms of how many partners have you onboarded for a relevant area.
Okay.
So, say for example, if I work with a customer to build a COE, it's not that I can take the entire IBM capability to build that.
Okay.
I need to, of course, look at a lot of partners, look at a larger ecosystem to bring in relevant partners, especially when it comes to niche technologies where probably IBM feels it's not relevant to invest because of multiple reasons or their strategy. or in areas where today the way I look at IBM, price is not matching. Okay. Or the customer doesn't require a global solution.
Got it.
Now I look at those niche partners who I can sort of partner with and create that entire ecosystem for helping the client to create the I call it the GTOE,
Got
Global Technology Center of Excellence.
Got it. Got it. Great, great, Arun. So, you mentioned that you have around 250 partners, right? From the very large products to the SaaS. So, how the spectrum works? Could you explain? And what are you doing with them, on a periodical basis, Arun?
Okay. So if you look at IBM as a company, and I think I'll spend a little time because I think IBM is like a elephant, and how three or four blind people approach an elephant. IBM is like that because IBM has three major businesses, if I were to tell. One is the IBM Consulting, which I am part of, which is purely a consulting arm. Second is IBM Technology, which is a set of or a group which actually creates softwares and solutions, which it is not that IBM Consulting alone does it. There are a lot of SIs who take IBM products and solutions to the market. Then there is the IBM the research and engineering wing, which is the R&D arm of IBM. So if you look at it, there are those three components. So we are not like the typical SI, which you see in the market.
All right.
Now, the partnership with each of this, see, when you sign up a contract with IBM or a partnership contract, you can engage with all the three.
Okay.
Right? Because it is not like you are signing only for a consulting or a technology or for a R&D arm. You are signing to IBM as a company.
So, to that extent, sorry to ask a question now, interrupt. Is like, for example, I'm signing up with you. Does it mean that it's a global mandate? Can I go across the globe and sell it to all the, what is it, the customers of IBM? Obviously, I need to follow the process, whatever it requires. Or is it like, since I'm signing, I'm working with the APAC region, is it restricted to the APAC region?
Okay, so while I told that we are split into businesses, three major businesses, we are also split as per geo. Okay, now what IBM has done is, IBM being a technology company with a lot of software and other solutions, what IBM has done is, today you have a onboarding process into IBM, something we call internally as Partner Plus. Now, it's just a portal you go into. You have the option to choose what is the region that you want to play. If you want to play as a global, you can choose global. Then it asks you multiple questions in terms of telling what is your company about, what is the area that you feel is that you want to pitch in for, what is the solution that you bring in, what is the USP that you bring. So all these details are something that you fill. Depending on that, you can choose to play where. So you can either choose to play as a global, or you can choose to play as a regional. Like, say, for example, I belong to something called an ISA consulting, IBM Consulting. So ISA stands for India, South Asia.
Okay.
So here in India, you see two groups. One is a group, more a global delivery group, which supports global projects.
Okay.
Then there is a ISA group, which I belong to, who supports domestic and South Asia. So this is the way we are structured. So there are partners who only sign up for ISA, depending on what is their product and what is their reach.
Okay.
There are companies which will sign up for a global partnership. Now, here again, you also need to choose in terms of what is the type of partnership you want to sign up. Because we have a partnership with us, which is a business partner. We have a technology partner. We also have something called a services partner.
Okay.
Then we have one more called reseller.
Okay.
Okay. So it's more like, do you want to sell with IBM? Do you want to build with IBM? Do you want to offer services with IBM? Now, this is something I think upfront, anyone who want to partner with IBM has to think through before he plays in. What I also have seen is somebody who want to play it safe. They will come in more like what I have seen is sell with, right? Enter in that, because that is the easiest thing. As far as I know, in 2 days you can sign up as a partner.
Okay.
with the new Partner Plus form submitted. If you want to become a reseller or a sell with, it happens in 2 days' time. The evaluation is pretty easy. So then, once you understand the overall ecosystem and play, you upscale yourself to become a technology partner and then a business partner. So that's how I have seen, and then upscale your regional footprint as well. So that is the way I have seen most of the players who have graduated from joining the partnership to growing it. So that's the typical route that we have seen, Shankar.
Great. So going back to the 250 partners, so what kind of engagement you will have with them? Obviously, it will be a broad spectrum, but kind of how is the partnership? I think the life cycle. How does it happen?
Okay. So, of the partners that we have, and these are partners which have happened over the last 30 or 40 years of IBM history. So, some have remained to continue with IBM, some are new. Of this, I will actually segment uh, the upper part, which is like, say, 20, 30 of them, which are large SIs or the big fours, which are not relevant because that happens automatically, naturally. Okay.
Right.
Then there is a set which is in the middle, which is like they are playing everywhere. It's like a Kachra group, which they play everywhere. Some are relevant, some are not relevant. There's nothing strategic. They're continuing to make growth with the partnership, so they're continuing. Next set is where I am also keen because this is a set which is a mix of smaller companies and startups,
Okay.
which have happened in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, or maybe let me take 10 years for that matter. Okay. Now, this is a group which keeps on changing. The fundamental reason being, I think there are many who jump into the bandwagon to understand, sorry, this was not what we wanted to do.
Got it.
The next set is the ones who are willing to experiment, has come, done well with IBM, and today they are growing and also making money out of this entire partnership. So if you look at the 250, 300 spectrum, I think I can sort of explain a little bit of the life cycle of this small percentage of, say, 20% or 25%, who are the ones who are in that set of last 10 years engagement.
Sure.
Smaller solutions, but they had a, I mean, what you call, they have seen success working with IBM. Okay. So typically, if you look at how they have started, and I'll take an example to tell. You understand the sustainability area well, right?
That's right. Yes.
So IBM is big into sustainability.
Okay.
Big in the sense it's really invested huge into sustainability. Now, when you have to sort of be in the industry as a leader in the sustainability, invariably you need to have your softwares that are there to sort of position to any companies to gather all the data that are available.
Right.
So what IBM has done is, though they try to build their own software or a platform, I would not call a software, a platform for sustainability, because I always look at sustainability solutions as an ERP, because that's the next ERP actually, if you look at it. Okay.
Sure.
So those platform when IBM thought of building, what apparently happened was, it's not that you can build a lot of things from scratch. And the strategy was very clear. They thought, we will build certain part of the platform. We will acquire companies to fill the rest of the gap. Now, they identified certain companies added into this platform. However, as the regulatory and compliance things changed, they suddenly found that scalability of this platform was a problem. And they were looking at niche players who can fill these gaps. And that is when actually they started looking out for smaller companies who can come in, especially if you look at the reporting part. Though it's not a major thing if you look at it, there were niche companies who were specialized. They knew how to gather the data, what data, they were putting it in a way that was replicable for every CFO. So when actually they looked at it, these niche players typically started conversing with IBM, both either as part of a what you call a discussion that happened just like that during a meeting, or it happened due to a requirement of a customer where they wanted to build a platform. So when you start working for an RFP, you find that your solution has gaps, either you proactively go find out partners who can fill that, or partners also know that such an RFP is come from customer.
Right.
They will hunt for who are the ones who received RFP and then position that. That is how typically the first conversations with smaller partners have started.
Got it.
Mostly that is how proactively there are some who will come, but mostly that is how it happened,
Got it.
where there was a USP for them,
Okay.
which either IBM recognized or the startup knew that there was a gap. So there wasn't a real requirement of a selling.
Got it.
It was only technically evaluating, telling, does my architecture fit into this overall platform?
Got it.
Is there a integration possibility that I see where there is no challenges? Can this be an end-to-end solution? If I also am a player there as a startup, my solution. So I think that is how smaller startups have started. The ones who took that path, they continue to stay with IBM. The reason being, I think the USB was very clear. Technically, there wasn't much of a challenge. There wasn't much of a selling that was required.
Okay.
Challenges came for the ones who pitched in telling that I have a great solution, and how they would have gone about is they looked at different larger platforms or solutions that are in the market, and then they tried to look at that pain point for a customer which this solution is not addressing.
Okay.
And then developed a solution as a startup solution, and then try to market it either on their own.
Okay.
Later to understand that, yes, with an SI, I could do a little more thing, or together I can do more business.
Right.
So those people, when they came in, I think it was more like a force fitting. Okay. So there were a lot of questions asked because we didn't hear that from a customer telling, I want this.
Okay.
Right? In the larger solution, many a time customer did not tell this.
Okay.
It was the startup's idea telling customer may buy this.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there are some customers who would look at it, but they are not customers who may look at it in the larger picture. So since we didn't hear that as part of customer voice, we felt this is something that we can hold on for a longer period till customer starts asking. So the amount of attention, the amount of energy that IBM will put into that partner and take the partner to the customer was limited. But for the other customers, since the USP was very clear, we also thought that this is a great solution. We found that our platform can't be customized only for this. We found that it's a perfect match. So it was more like a good marriage that happened, knowing the entire family history. Everything gelled well, and those have stayed with us for long. So I think that is how a typical partner takes the overall route to partnering with us, Shankar.
Sure. Arun. So, right. So the next question I'd like to understand is like, when you're looking for a new SaaS product, right? How do you select, like, whether this is fit for a partnership? I think you already covered certain points in the previous question, but is there any specific clear metrics you have? When I say you, means IBM has, and could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay. So see, typically this job is not done by my team. Okay. So how this all happens is either on a discussion with the customer or based on an RFP, because this is the two routes that we have seen we talking to startups. After the discussion, when our solution team sits to look at the overall solution.
So predominantly, sorry to again interfere. Is it like, m- mostly with the partners, it will not be a proactive approach?
Yes.
It is a
Absolutely, I don't think IBM does it proactive unless and until there is a customer push.
okay.
Like if there's an RFP and then we want to respond, we know this part is not there, then we'll do it proactively. But it's not. I've never seen that we have done it earlier, thinking that this may be an ask.
Okay.
Okay, because see, typically if you look, Shankar, the RFPs are 8 to 9 months time frame. They are
Yes. Yeah.
an end-to-end solution. We play end-to-end. So mostly that is how it has happened. Okay. Second is after an implementation, and say, for example, they want to migrate to a new system or they want to do a complete digital transformation. During the discussion, they will tell this is also a good to have for us.
Okay.
Now, when you sort of map multiple enterprise systems and multiple systems into the solution, you find that this good to have or sometimes also must have from customer doesn't fit into anything that your current strategic partner softwares are offering, packages are offering. There, what will happen is, and this mostly comes out where our architect tells, look, there's a gap.
Okay.
Because these functionalities are not mapping into anything. Now, how will we operate? So the first thing will be architect will look at, can any of the existing enterprise systems that are there as part of our strategic partnership be customized?
Okay.
Now, when you look at the effort that is required for a customization, probably that is a no.
Could you give an example, Arun? Because people can relate.
Yeah, so let's take SAP for example. Okay. Now, if you take SAP and reporting part of SAP,
Okay.
many a time if you look at the what you call the support, the licenses, the other nitty-gritties that come into customizing SAP and creating this report from SAP, and SAP being very what you call, like, no, I don't want to tell it, but it's a slow system to sort of use for reporting. So typically what they will tell is, okay, we have a BI to create the reports.
Okay.
Okay, or Cognos, you create reports. Now, what if you had a startup which already went through this grill and had a solution that can help me in doing this reporting?
Okay.
That is a good thing to show. Now, the problem is the IBM architects and the team. So we also have a market intelligence team who work with the market intelligence group outside to search for similar type of startups. Who will look for some solutions when the architect flags for solutions like this. That is one evaluation we do in parallel. The other evaluation is, are our existing partners ready to customize and give it for us?
Got it.
Because that means a fully integrated system, no much harm.
Got it.
Now, where the whole thing collapses, Shankar, is, and this, I'm also part of some startups because I'm an independent director doing this. Where I think the whole thing collapses is that you try to bring out a solution which is half-baked.
Okay.
Okay. Integrations are not tested properly with all the larger enterprise systems that are there in the market. Okay. Second is compliance, you are not really fulfilling. Security, you are not fulfilling. Now, this becomes a burning point wherein you cannot take the conversation even with the best of the features in the product.
Got it.
Because end of the day, for an architect, he has to have all these three things in a minimum tick.
Right.
To tell that I give a go ahead for further evaluation.
Got it.
But most of the startups, what I have seen is they fail on this primarily because they think this will happen over a period of time,
Right.
which is fine. I mean, in their view, that is fine. But then you shouldn't be trying to then
Go
talk to an SI to talk on partnership.
Got it.
Because you should know when is the right time to pitch.
Got it.
So unless these things are there, so I would tell minimum you should have major enterprise softwares integrated into your system where in the overall end-to-end services or solutions, you know which are the system and integration is done, compliance is tested for, security is tested for.
Okay.
This is a primary thing before you do.
Talking to anyone.
Else, I think mostly at an architect level itself, it collapses because he'll not give the go ahead for those. So that's how we have sort of worked it out with most of the startup solutions, Shankar.
Got it. Got it, Arun. So assuming I'm a startup, I'm ticking off all the basic minimum ticks, right? But even then, there's no guarantee saying that I will get customers from IBM, right?
Yes.
So what does it take to get customers from IBM? What are the next steps? How will it evolve? I think.
Okay. So one is, of course, I think the joint partnership has to mature.
Okay.
So fundamentally, I think all of us will have to go to the basics of that, wherein 2 or 3 wins. I think then that itself answers. So one is when you are partnering with a company like an IBM large SI, you can't expect them to take you to the customer. It will be it will be as part of the solution that somebody means we together will take. And many times what I have also seen is startups are too keen to push their name or position themselves to the customer, which is something many a times the larger SIs get irritated. The reason being, I'm using that word irritated, the reason being that you haven't partnered with a startup only for this customer. There is a larger cost that we have partnered. I think we should understand that as a startup, we are trying to leverage an SI's brand, like IBM, a brand. Second is the larger pitch that you are positioning to a customer. So these are the two things for what we partnered. I think we should be providing from backend whatever required, so that first 4-5 engagements sees success where IBM feels positioning them together has been beneficial both from a customer side. It has not caused any harm for me. Then I think they will start pushing you. It means in all the solutions that get created later. Because the moment you create small roadblocks, then I think the architect community will be hesitant, because this is a small, very close-knit community. And any niche solution that is baked in, it always is highlighted telling, look, we did this particular, or rather, no, we supported this particular requirement that came from customer using this solution. Hey, you should use this in your other solution. So this is one part of doing it. Okay. The second part is what I have seen that works is you should also have conversation with the higher ups in SIs to tell, or rather to tell what is your roadmap in terms of I as a startup. You shouldn't think that is a full baked solution. You should have a roadmap, convince the leadership also telling we are here to work with you for a longer time. We also have a roadmap. This is very important. Because no SI will look at a small play and a short play. Okay.
Got it.
Second is, third rather, I would tell is, many of the startups I see, they normally come to some level, and then when there's a lot of things happening in the market and you get some name, many of them want to sell off. Now, what if I positioned you as a solution within a framework with a 8-year engagement that I have signed, say for a managed service,
And suddenly that product.
suddenly you are showing us the other face. Now these are commitments that you have to give the leadership to tell that we are there to be with you, we are aligned to your strategy, we are there to do business with you, and we are not there for the short run. I think this is very, very critical. The reason being that many startups don't find that need to tell the leadership, thinking that no, we can sort of integrate and play now. Baki, as it comes, we'll see. Both from a product enhancement side or a scalability side, and both in the relationship side. So what I feel is this both has to go parallelly, wherein clear direction alignment with SI, be it IBM or be it whichever SI, and clear relationship in terms of building the relationship with the leadership to convey what we are here and how we plan to stay in the market. So I think that's very important, Shankar.
Yeah, Arun, I think you explain in detail about the process, right? Assuming I won a few clients with IBM. Now, scaling up further, how will it happen? Like, I'm sure you'll have hundreds of account managers across the globe. And I won with in certain industry for certain use cases, 2, 3. Will it automatically roll? Because as a startup, I may not have bandwidth to go and educate so many account managers. So how does that process happen? Probably you can share your personal experience.
So this is exactly where I told about the solution architect team. They are actually your sellers. Because see, the problem is in any.
Could you also explain? I'm sorry again. Sorry to interfere. Could you explain the org structure, especially the sales org structure in IBM, because it varies from different SIs. Yeah.
No, even even in IBM and Geo it changes. Now, how we are structured is there are clearly two divisions. One is a delivery division. One is a account management division.
Okay.
Now, in delivery division, it is all about delivery. they take care of the delivery metrics, manage the projects, all that, and manage operations. Now, in the account management team, you can have two type of people. One are the G team, which are clearly linked to sales target.
Okay.
Second is the account managers who have a role to grow an account.
Okay.
Now, these are the account managers because for sales managers, they take everything,
Okay.
whatever is in the IBM services and product portfolio.
Sure.
Account managers, while they are mandated to take everything, it is not necessary that the customer will take everything from IBM.
Okay.
Now, these are the ones who do consultative selling,
Got.
where typically the deals are no small deals. They are large deals that are farmed over a time.
Okay.
And that is the exact reason why any SI will invest an account manager into an account. So he understands what are the major initiatives that will happen, and then he will look at selling the larger solution to it.
Got it.
Now, many times from a org perspective, leadership is obviously, yes, there is delivery leaders, there are account leaders who will have who will have a geo leader on top. So if you look at ISA, we have a ISA leader. Okay. Not necessarily an India country leader, it is an ISA leader, India South Asia leader, who's sitting in Singapore, where both groups report to.
Got it.
Right. So that's how we are structured. And then you have project teams, and we don't have a proper sales team.
Okay.
So when I tell sales team, not the normal sales team, because I think in companies like IBM, we don't have small accounts where you do only small business.
Okay.
So normally you start with people who are at least 15 years plus, who have already played the normal sales role coming into these GTM and account partner roles.
Got it.
Now, to answer your question on how any of the solution providers can grow their business and close larger things with account partners, I think first you need to get something called a credibility within the system.
Okay. Sure.
And that credibility will happen through the solution architects, because solution architects are a group who sits inside the delivery group.
Okay.
But every account partner will take help from them, because they are the ones who will help you with the solution what I can take to the customer. So they are also solution managers or architects who walk with you alongside meeting the customer, so that they get a full view of what exactly are they asking, because there is a limit to what account manager can understand it from an overall perspective or requirement. Solution architect will also go a little deep dive into looking at from a technical perspective what they would need. So getting a solution architect convinced and he becoming a seller internally is the first thing that any solution, whoever is a startup solution that is positioned, need to do. Because once he is convinced, he will sell this to all account partners.
Sure.
Just to take a case, like say for example, I have one of my customer where I saw success with this solution alongside multiple other solutions and services that we have.
Right.
The next thing what I am going to do is, in a common call where either somebody will ask what was your reason for success and how did all these things come out, I'm definitely going to use the SaaS solution name there.
All right.
Plus, I would also sell, this is a solution architect to help me architect this.
Sure.
Other account managers are going to him when there is a similar
solution. Okay.
So this is little time consuming, but I think you need to walk that path. It's a little longer path, but I think that is a way to sell it internally. There is no fast rule, because even if a leader pushes the solution to you, unless you are convinced and you are able to sell it, that won't go, because of only once you will put it. But then it is all about how internally these groups are it's more like how you build relation with them, keep meeting them once in a while, telling them that these are the features that we have enhanced nothing, what other information do you want. Spending a lot of time with the solution architect and the account team over a time is what I think is the mantra to success.
Got it, Arun. Got it. So in the sales team, you do have because in the other SIs, they have something called capabilities. They have the vertical. So in your organization, that kind of
No,
structure?
in the GTM and the sales team, account team, we don't have that. We have industry focused people.
Okay.
So when I'm telling industry focus, it is more to assign somebody to an industry where he knows the industry nuances, he has connects within the industry, he can speak the industry language. But beyond that, there are no practice or capabilities. They all sit in the delivery only.
Oh, they are all sitting. Okay, very good.
Correct.
So, if I'm a startup, I want to reach out this one. How do you really figure out in the maze?
Now, difficult question, but one is definitely like how everyone meets during a common, what you call a program or an event. You meet, you find somebody, seek help. This is one method. At least he will guide you to where to go.
Got it.
But fundamentally, what I have seen in IBM is the best method, if I were to tell. There is this portal which has today named IBM Partner World.
Okay.
Okay, so you just Google IBM Partner World. You put the data, whatever is required to fill that fields there with the USP. It goes to the relevant person internally.
Okay.
So the partner world is done in such a way that the mail that is put for a relevant solution will go to the respective practice.
Wow.
So they will then follow up with you.
Any success story from this? Means in terms of whether, I think I know there are a lot of suggestion box, complaint box being kept everywhere, but it doesn't really go to the.
No. This in 2 days time you will get reply,
Okay.
and even it will give you the email ID to whom it is gone, so that you can do a follow up. Because this is one that because I think internally in IBM we felt working with a partner ecosystem is the best way to work. See, because IBM or an SI cannot build their entire solutions, right? And today, if I am talking about, forget the 30, but around 220 other partners, technology partners,
Right.
that itself shows that is a ecosystem that we need to
Correct. Correct.
and it's a joint investment of time, everything, and that is the way to go. So there is a dedicated team that is put who actually looked at bringing the best method of engaging, and that is how this portal was done. It was just updated last year. Okay, and in that you put it goes to the relevant thing. It also triggers a mail to the procurement telling that such a request has come. So it's procurement and the practice who looks at it and reverts back.
Okay.
Typically, what I've seen is no one tells, or they just don't keep quiet to tell we don't require it now. At least they will do an evaluation. If not for now, that is tagged.
Okay.
Okay. So that way, I think it is a very responsive method that we have in IBM.
Okay.
And as I told you earlier, in some cases wherein the startup partner can actually show the USP very, very clearly, they've found success in getting registered in 2 days' time. So you get an IBM ID and then you can access the entire IBM Partner Plus. One more thing that I feel at this time, since you asked me this question, to sort of tell how this clicks, is before we fill a form as a startup, I think the startup has to learn about IBM a lot.
Okay.
Understanding what do they do, who are their strategic partners, what is it that they're doing, what are the solutions that they are taking to the market. Because then I think creating that USB becomes easier. Because you know what IBM is. Otherwise, it is like you are doing a blank shot.
Okay.
If it happens, it happens. But once you learn about what is IBM, what are the solutions, how do they work, these are the partners, this is what they do in the market, I think you get a clarity as to where does my solution fit in.
Okay.
And that clarity you give, it is easy to sell it inside.
And
So I think that's something.
whatever the information you mentioned there, it is already available.
It is available. It is available.
Okay.
I can show that also.
Got it.
It is available.
Sure. So it's a matter of time and effort you got to put it, but otherwise the information is there. Fantastic. Fantastic, Arun. So I think you handled so many partners, right? So we also discussed on other day, like, talking about the co-creation of new solutions and products. How does the IP, to whom it belongs to, and what is the case? If you have any kind of example, you can walk us through.
Okay, so typically, if you look at it from an IP perspective, So be it the source code, be it the algorithm, or be it a proprietary feature of a solution. These three things I don't think IBM or any typical SI, as far as I know, because I've worked in other SIs also, they will not touch any of this. Okay. And typically, if you look at the agreement, the license agreement, as we call it, that will be only to use this to sell or make it as part of the solution. Now, one other thing that I have seen is when it comes to, say, for example, while I told you it could be because of a gap in an overall solution that we are positioning this this startup tool or solution. Not necessarily it is a 100% fit.
Okay.
There has to be some customization that need to be done.
Sure.
There has to be some new APIs that need to be created. This is sometimes it is mandatory, right?
Got it.
Now, both sides have to be very clear. How will this get addressed? Because some will take joint effort.
Okay.
Some can be fully the startup development.
Sure.
Some could be fully the SI development.
Sure.
Now, who will own the IP for those is something people have to be very clear of.
Sure.
So when you think of the IP, these are three things that you need to be clear. Co-developed IP, who will own? Is it both will share? Can be used in any other engagements later. Startup solution itself created this, developed this feature. Will startup continue to own it?
Okay.
And if the SI has created this feature,
okay,
how will this be taken forward? So I think this clarity has to be there. The other part is in terms of how we look at IP and monetize that.
Sure.
Right? Now there, I think many a times I've seen SIs asking for a white labeling.
Sure.
Which somewhere I think some startups don't like, some startups like. I think you should also be very clear on how we will take it discussion before even thinking to partner with SI.
Sure.
Because it's something like this in personal life, if we were to look at it. Before marriage, I think bride and bridegroom need to talk and tell whether will I allow a bride to work after marriage,
right,
or not after marriage, because it can't be a decision that you marry and then take a call.
Got it.
Because that will get into fight. So I think about this white labeling and related IP, I think this is an upfront discussion that both have to have in terms of getting clarity as to what is it and document it within the legal structure, Shankar. But typically I've seen that SIs really don't get into this thing of source code or
Okay.
algorithms or
implement of IP.
any other proprietary feature. I don't think, at least I have not seen any SIs getting into it. And they're pretty open to it because that's actually the startups, what is it? It's their own property, right?
Got it. Sure. You also mentioned about the white labeling part, right? So why the whether it is IBM or any other SI, why are they asking for the white labeling? Is it the predominant compelling what is it demand from the client, or is it like IBM wants to say that hey, it is my client, I want to be the front face of it? What could be the reason?
Both are reasons, but I would tell it is more from a contracting perspective.
Okay.
Because what happens is if you were to contract, you bring in a new need. Okay, as part of a larger solution.
Okay.
Lot of questions are asked in terms of how will I partner with this particular company, which is not an IBM company.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up a separate NDA.
Okay.
Okay. Then
Repeat one process again.
Every other process you have to repeat.
Okay.
Okay. Now, many times these are things that become a bigger difficulty from both sides also when you create a contract.
Right.
Because for this solution owner or solution company, you have to create separate things to manage their ask and other things.
Okay.
Now, that's a place where I think many of the SIs are well off in doing a white labeling, because the entire solution, how they want to do everything is priced internally. All clauses are signed back to back with the startup from a subcon or a back-to-back
SLA and other things.
Everything is signed. SLAs, everything are managed. You sell it, entire ownership is taken by the SI. It becomes easy to contract. Otherwise, a lot of questions will come. That is one part. The second part is legal will challenge you.
Okay.
The same questions like, have you validated the existence of this company after 5 years? Who are the investors? So there are a lot of questions that will come in which unnecessarily will delay and create problems. So many a times I've seen SIs asking this requirement only in very large cases, which is a large engagement where contracting becomes easy because you already have a lot of other issues in contracting and you don't want to add one more into this. And it is not that it is, many a times it is only one startup solution that we are. We might be talking to multiple other things. We also will have subcontractors coming in. So I think when you have a lot of other issues, typically SIs will be happy with having a white labeling, at least for those cases. But then I think back-to-back agreement, what for the startup solution provider, I think everything is taken care, except that their brand is not positioned to that customer. But the revenues are assured.
But from the startup perspective, obviously, this is a system, this is a rule. Now we can't really have no qualms about it. But they cannot use a logo which is important for them to show to their other client or to the investors. So, but anyway, that's how it.
But that is always a discussion that you can have later on, because at some point of time, at least wherever I have sold, I've been open enough to tell that it is not that IBM has end-to-end solution. We are partnering. We are an ecosystem. We bring ecosystem together and deliver you what you want. So at some point of time, we will tell this is what is the solution that we have positioned. This is a partner. So we are open to, during all the orals, everything we'll be showing these logos or the company name.
Okay.
Not that we will not be using that.
Sure.
But we will take the full responsibility.
Understand.
So that way, I think the white labeling is done more to cover the requirements of see, especially when it comes to government contracts.
Okay.
They put restrictions in terms of, no, it's only one signing that we'll do with the vendor.
Okay.
You can't have multiple vendors.
Sure.
So all these are things that we take care, Shankar, that time.
Sure, Arun. Sure. So when I think you also mentioned what are you looking into from the privacy to security and all. What are the red flags which you see from a a startup before engaging?
Okay. So couple of them, there are many, in fact, but couple of them which I feel personally in my capacity, which I found. One was what I told, not having a roadmap. Okay. If you are not able to clearly tell a roadmap, you tell that this is almost a matured solution. I think we start doubting, then what are they trying to do? Because you should have, any product should have their own roadmap. So there should be very clear roadmap as to what they should be doing. It's clearly documented and available and for discussions and everything. Second is the roadmap in terms of a commitment for some time.
Okay.
Because if you are saying that, no, I will raise some fund and then do something else, then I think there is always a question of doubt. That you are not committed to this, you want to do a lot of things. And now how committed are you in the solution? That because we had experiences of some companies, you have heard of this lab information management system space?
No, not really.
So it's a small area within the healthcare domain.
Okay.
Which is only for labs, more like an ERP for lab.
Okay.
Now, if you are giving an end-to-end solution for a customer, this is a solution which will fit into the larger enterprise systems.
Okay.
But it has to gather all the details from the CRM, from the ERP, from production, everything, so that it's part of the overall quality management.
Sure.
But many a times what I have seen is, many of them have an aspiration to develop the lab information system to a smaller ERP.
Okay.
Because it's more of adding more modules, right? So if you look at SAP,
All right.
QM module is a lab information system.
Okay.
Okay. So similarly, they have aspiration to make it a ERP. The moment that becomes an ERP, then the core QM functions will take a backseat.
Understood.
And there are no enhancements, no other things that happen to the QM, which is difficult because, say, if I sign a 5-year agreement,
Okay.
Suddenly you change your what do you call your solution after 1 year.
Okay.
how will I go and justify to another customer to tell now I need to sort of know either give an update to the solution which is only unique to that area.
I understand.
In the larger picture, you have multiple updates that you have in your overall architecture that you have planned every year, two updates.
Right.
Integration has to be tested, right?
Okay.
All other functions have to be tested, whether it will work well, data exchanges happen properly the way we have configured, which is not something that any large SI would be wanting to take because they have bigger things to do already, because their project timelines are affected, other things are affected. So the moment you do all this with your solution, I think there is a problem. So where those solution providers who are clear with their roadmap, articulated with the roadmap to the SI, everything is aligned, and you also run it as per this, then we would actually have a better peace of mind from both sides. Otherwise, there's always a problem that happens.
Okay. But from the SaaS side or the product side, they always have apprehension saying that we do some 2-3 POCs or 2-3 successful customers. But after that, the SI say that, hey, this is going to be applicable for a large set of customers. They try to replicate it because they have all the resources, they have the coding team to everything. So, no, how is your take on it? Have you seen these kind of things happens regularly? And
Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
And that is a risk you take in life. I mean, because I think it is, we don't need to look at a SaaS solution to answer that. It's even in our life. I mean, if somebody can replicate what you did,
Okay.
I think you also need to think that, was it unique?
Okay.
It's because you were thinking something that is unique, which actually wasn't unique.
Or it might be unique yesterday, now.
Now it's not relevant. Okay.
All right.
And for all you know, I think at some point of time when it was relevant, now other people are also doing it.
All right.
You also have to think. So that is where I think the roadmap is very
important. Okay.
So 3 days down, you should know 3 years down, where will this whole journey be?
No, but that is all the more putting the startup on risk, right? Because I'm telling what I'm having and also telling what I'm going to do. Then the SI can replicate the 3 year also, right?
No, see, not necessarily. I'll tell you why. Okay. Because you look at certain enterprise systems. It is not that they have kept on adding features. They have kept a room for SIs to play whatever depending on industry or need.
Okay.
And they have stuck to the core what they want. And that is what gave them the strength. Because that core was not something that any SI could replicate.
Okay.
So that way, I think the startup solution should have that core, which not anyone could replicate easily. So when I tell easily, one is in terms of the price at which that can be developed. Okay. Because if you are a startup and you have done it with some innovative ways, I think that proves that an SI never thought of it. Got it. Okay. Second is replicating assets. I think there is some IP protection that we have in terms of the feature, in terms of proprietary other things that we have. So that gives us some protection. Okay. The second part is from a can a SI do? Of course they can do. But then if you can prove that I can do it at a much lesser price, I can do it much faster, and I can do much more flexibly, I think not many SIs would want to take all this trouble if there is a ready-made market available. It's as good as we thinking, do I build a car on my own or buy a car on my own? If somebody else can take everything on my behalf and deliver me what I require, why should an SI do altogether? Because they will be questioned internally. Why should you replicate? Because we have a partner. Because the concept of partner itself is that SI don't do everything, right? So if you look at it, I think SIs have come to a level where they are also very clear what is it that they will do, what they will not do. And many a times where they don't want to do is where they seek partners.
Okay.
And it is more like somewhere you need to believe each other.
Got it.
And the thing that you asked is, of course, some SIs do, some startup get affected, but I think that's part of the whole game of business.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Arun, whenever the SaaS product, is dealing with ASI, one of the primary condition, or even not a condition, one of the primary requirement for ASI is how much of service revenue I can make from the particular, because you are not a reseller, but you are a system integrator, right? So is there any prerequisite for IBM to say that this much of $1 million of service revenue I should be able to make it, or what's the kind of yardstick?
Um, Typically, no yardstick that way. But I think initially it was more like 6 months trial
Okay.
to see whether or not, with most of the partners, that is how it happens. 6 months, 1 year time frame we give to work on a trial basis to see where both go,
Okay.
because it's a new territory both are working. So mostly first year there's nothing like a target that we do, and basis this, every quarter there is a review that we do with the partners,
Okay.
to hear from the partner also as to how they feel about what they have felt about this whole journey on the partnership. But I think more importantly for startup, what I have found is many a times while we engage, the pricing models of startups are very different from us. So you typically look at the SI, we have a staffing, that is a T&M pricing. We have a outcome-based pricing. We have a managed service pricing, and we have a fixed price
Okay.
for project. This is how ours are.
Sure.
But you look at the startup solution, especially the SaaS solution
Products. Okay. It's a license.
subscription based. It's mostly subscription based.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How will you link all this?
Okay.
Okay, and this is a big problem.
Okay.
So what I've seen is many of the startup and especially SaaS startups solutions that we have worked with and grown, they have literally changed their pricing structure. They no more offer the subscription when it comes to working with IBM. They give per user,
Okay.
or they have changed their entire thing to tell based on usage.
Okay.
So you can work on different ways how the usage can be judged. Maybe no, in terms of how many hours somebody is logged in,
Okay.
how many integrations people have used. So
Okay.
multiple parameters are there. The other one is wherein they have structured their pricing in such a way they've gone in for every module based on our usage, not the full thing.
Okay.
So at a modular level.
All right.
Now this gives a flexibility when we either align it with our outcome based price or with a fixed price.
Got it.
Especially for AMS, we need this absolutely, because AMS is, while I don't want to call it a fixed price, but it is like a fixed price
All right.
for a 5 year with the price reduction. What is it? Range, not even a range. I mean, a committed price above which my maintenance won't go. This is a commitment that we give on an AMS.
Okay.
So, such type of commitment, if we can give,
Okay.
because if we give subscription based, there's nothing much we can do, because at some point when my subscription over, business can't stop.
Got it.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that is how SaaS solution providers have to relook at their pricing to match with how SI prices in the market, because you can't have two type of contract signed with customer.
All right. All right.
It has to be an integrated thing.
Correct.
One invoice will go.
Okay.
It will be paid to IBM. IBM will pay. This is one model.
All right.
The other model is customer is ready to work with them. However, solution should not get affected because of different payments and different travelers. Because if SaaS has monthly end of month subscription payment, and we have a yearly payment. Yeah. So it is like 1 year, end of the year, based on outcome we are showing. This zone match.
Right. Because IBM cannot pay out of its
Cannot
pocket
pay.
for.
Correct. So I think somewhere that has to also get gelled well in terms of how we do it together.
Okay.
In terms of getting that pricing part also right. Because unless that is done, it is very difficult to sort of go to the customer.
Got it. Got it.
So it's actually I found that as the most difficult thing, Shankar. Because fundamentally the reason is many solutions are not architected for it.
Okay.
And there is a lot of rework that they'll have to do from the solution end to make it for this type of pricing.
Got it. Got it. So probably the last couple of questions. what is a compelling reason for you to look at a startup for a partnership?
First is definitely, I think, startup brings in the unique pain points that customers have, which in the larger things, SIs or bigger uh, product companies fail to see.
Okay.
Because many a times, you know it, right? I mean, it is not that all these product companies make these products taking feedback from customer. Out startups have that unique thing of spending a lot of time with customer, knowing that pain point, and then getting that idea and creating that solution. Now, and this is very relevant in the overall scheme of things. So we find that as the prime reason why we should bring, because if we as an SI doesn't do it, somewhere in a solution that another SI does, what if they showed that as a solution? We will be missing out only for this feature. So I think when somebody is asking an end-to-end solution, it is a responsibility for the SI to make sure that I show them the entire end-to-end solution, both with my solution, other partner solution, and startup solution that can build the entire solution, Shankar.
Okay. So that is the most compelling
reasons. Other reasons are, yes, I mean, which are part and parcel of any SaaS solution, which probably comparing to many of the other larger products that are there. For this feature, this is a very flexible way of offering it.
Okay.
Which for any SaaS solution, that is one of the major thing. But the unique one is what I mentioned, that it is that pain point that customer wanted, which in the larger scheme, both SIs and product companies miss.
Got it. Got it. Sure. Thanks a lot, Arun, for your time.
So your time.
I'm sure all of you are finding value from this podcast series. If you have any questions, interesting insights about SaaS as a partnership, please share it in the comment section below. We will answer back to your queries, or if it is a very interesting question, we will cover up in the upcoming podcast. Also, feel free to share this with your friends, and if you really liked it, then like or share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.